Namaskar and thank you for tuning in to Express News. News snippets from across different segments. National news first. India's Foreign Secretary Vikram Misri briefed the Standing Committee of Parliament on External Affairs on Operation Sindoor, which was launched in the aftermath of the Pahalgam terror attack. He said there was no nuclear signalling. The Indian Army Chief General Upendra Dwivedi visited Longewala in Rajasthan on Monday to congratulate the troops for their exemplary role during Operation Sindoor. He also reviewed the joint actions undertaken in coordination with the Indian Air Force and the Border Security Force. The Indian Army soldiers deployed along the international border in Amritsar revealed that they foiled Pakistan's infiltration attempt on May 8-9 night. This was done with the help of an alert by the Indian Army and matchless air defense systems deployed in frontline areas. The Ministry of Defense said that Operation Sindoor marked a turning point in India's defense doctrine, demonstrating tri-services synergy, strategic depth and technological dominance in response to the Pahalgam terror attack. The anti-terrorist squad of the North Indian state of Uttar Pradesh arrested a suspected Pakistani spy for allegedly working for Pakistan's intelligence agency and engaging in cross-border smuggling. The North Indian state of Punjab, Gurdaspur police have arrested two persons for engaging in sharing classified details related to Operation Sindoor with Pakistan's intelligence agency, the ISI. The Embassy of India in Portugal responded firmly to a protest organized by Pakistani demonstrators near its Chancery building, calling it a cowardly act. The Indian ambassador to Portugal, Puneet Roy Kundal, and other Indian diplomats stood proudly with large images that read, "Operation Sindoor is not over yet." The International Monetary Fund, the IMF, has imposed 11 more conditions on Pakistan, raising the total to 50 for the next bailout tranche. New demands include parliamentary approval of a 17.6 trillion rupee budget, higher deficit financing or servicing charges, and this is on electricity bills, and also on lifting restrictions on imported used cars over 3 years old. The 11-day-long Tiranga Yatra continues to stir hearts and unite citizens in honor of India's brave defense forces. In Himachal Pradesh's Chamba, the Tiranga Yatra was organized in the Pangi area at an altitude of 13,570 feet above sea level. The Tiranga Yatra to honor the armed forces for Operation Sindoor was also held in India's capital city, Delhi, on Monday. A huge Tiranga Yatra was organized in Mehar city of India's central state, Madhya Pradesh. People from all sections of society participated enthusiastically, saluting the success of Operation Sindoor. External Affairs Minister Jai Shankar is on a 6-day visit to the Netherlands, Denmark and Germany. In the Netherlands, in The Hague, the minister exchanged his views with strategic experts on Monday. India's Home Minister Amit Shah on Monday launched a new portal of overseas citizens of India in New Delhi. The Indian Minister of Power, Manohar Lal, is in Brazil for the BRICS Energy Ministers meeting, showcasing India's remarkable progress in the power sector over the past decade. The minister's visit emphasizes India's commitment to international cooperation in energy. Minister Manohar Lal praised the Indian diaspora for keeping the nation's values alive and acknowledged their contributions to Brazil's growth. At the BRICS Transport Ministers meeting in Brazil, the group made a historic decision to reduce fossil fuel pollution in the world. The Transport and Highways Minister Nitin Gadkari, who represented India at the meeting, said that New Delhi will definitely try to be carbon neutral by 2070 as per the vision of Prime Minister Narendra Modi. The Indian Minister of State for Broadcasting and Information, Dr. L. Murugan, visited the public broadcaster Doordarshan's Bengaluru Kendra and inspected various departments of the Doordarshan Kendra and reviewed the functioning of the staff. India has been awarded the Certificate of Elimination of Trachoma as a public health problem by the Director General of the World Health Organization, Dr. Tedros Ghebreyesus, at the 78th World Health Assembly in Geneva. This recognition is a testament to India's sustained efforts to eliminate diseases, preventive health care as well, and a commitment to ensure health for all. In a historic achievement, the National Cadet Corps expedition team successfully scaled the highest mountain peak, Mount Everest, on Sunday. This team braved extreme weather to hoist the Indian tricolour and the NCC flag atop the world's highest mountain. The Indian Coast Guard continues its dedicated marine conservation efforts under the Operation Olivia, which is to protect endangered olive ridley turtles along India's eastern coastline. Let's look at the business news now. And India's equity indices traded lower on Monday. The Sensex plunged 271 points. It closed at 82,059.42 points. The Nifty fell below the 25,000 mark with 24,945.45 at close. The Indian rupee closed stronger against the dollar on Monday. The domestic currency ended 12 paise higher at 85.40. Gold futures maturing on June 8 were priced at 93,630 rupees per 10 grams on the multi-commodity exchange. Silver futures for July 4 maturity stood at 95,987 rupees per kilogram on the MCX. The government e-marketplace GEM has marked its 8th incorporation day with record-breaking growth, cementing its position as a cornerstone of India's digital public procurement ecosystem. Brent crude futures fell 49 cents to $64.92 per barrel. Microsoft is holding its Build conference in Seattle on May 19, where analysts are have expected the company to unveil its latest tools for developers who are building AI systems. Taiwan aims to lead the AI revolution at Computex, leveraging its strengths in semiconductors and computing. The 4-day event will feature 1,400 exhibitors and is the first major tech gathering since Trump's tariff threat. NVIDIA announced on Monday that it plans to sell its new NVLink fusion technology, which links chips together to enhance AI performance. The tech will be available to other chip makers like Marvell Technology and MediaTek, enabling them to build powerful custom AI systems. International news now. And a key outcome of the discussions at the UK-EU leaders meeting in London, hosted by the British Prime Minister Keir Starmer, is an agreement to work towards a deal that will make it easier for young people to live and work across the continent. Britain and the European Union have agreed to reset trade and defence relations, marking a major shift in post-Brexit diplomacy. The UK Prime Minister Starmer praised the newly established strategic partnership with the EU and emphasized the importance of leaving behind outdated debates and focusing on progress. The US President Donald Trump will speak with the Russian President Vladimir Putin, followed by the Ukrainian President Volodymyr Zelensky and NATO leaders to push for a ceasefire deal between Russia and Ukraine. The British Prime Minister Starmer and fellow leaders of France, Germany and Italy again pressed the need for sanctions against Russia in a call with President Trump before his telephone summit with Vladimir Putin. Ukraine's President Zelensky met the US Vice President J.D. Vance and the Secretary of State Marco Rubio on the sidelines of the Vatican ceremony. The former US President Joe Biden has been diagnosed with an aggressive form of prostate cancer that has spread to his bones. In a post on social media platform X, the former US President Joe Biden thanked well-wishers for their support. Pope Leo XIV met the US Vice President J.D. Vance and the Secretary of State Marco Rubio at the Vatican on Monday. Vance said that talks with the Pope were held on a range of diplomatic issues. Donald Trump's sweeping tax cut bill stalled for days by Republican infighting over spending cuts won approval from a key congressional committee to advance towards possible passage in the House of Representatives later this week. Train service in New Jersey is set to resume on Tuesday after New Jersey Transit and the Brotherhood of Locomotive Engineers and Trainmen reached a tentative agreement ending the state's first transit strike in over 40 years that began early Friday. In France, a major air traffic control failure at Paris's Orly airport led to cancellations of around 130 flights, leaving thousands of passengers to scramble for alternative routes. In a statement, Netanyahu's office has announced a decision to lift the blockade on Gaza to allow the entry of limited aid to prevent a hunger crisis there. In a video address on Monday, the Israeli Prime Minister Netanyahu said that Israel would control all of Gaza and would also prevent Hamas from looting aid. The Iranian Foreign Ministry spokesperson Ismail Bakhwagi has said that Iran is open to establishing a regional nuclear fuel consortium, reiterating that it would not stop enriching uranium. The EU sharply cuts its Eurozone economic growth forecast for 2025 because of global trade tensions sparked by US President Donald Trump's sweeping tariffs. The European Union Commissioner for the Economy, Valdis Dombrovskis, has announced that the 20-country single currency area's economy should grow 0.9% in 2025. Portugal's incumbent centre-right party won the most seats in the country's third general election in 3 years on Sunday, but again fell short of a parliamentary majority. Nicusa Dan, a centrist mayor and former mathematics professor, on Sunday won the presidential election in Romania. Dan defeated the hard-right candidate George Simion. 3 police officers were killed and 2 other police were wounded when a car bomb exploded near a police station in eastern Syria, the town of Al-Mayadin. At least 14 people were killed in western Sudan when a paramilitary rapid support forces shell had hit a displacement camp in Darfur. Now the attack struck a famine-stricken area in the war-torn western region. We're heading for a short break. Stay with us. You're watching Express News. Stay to DD India. Welcome back. You're watching Express News on DD India. Let's resume. News about the weather now. A sharp weather split is gripping India this week with downpours in the south and the northeast, and the northwest is facing intensifying heat waves. Thunderstorms and dust storms are also expected in the northern states. The Commission for Air Quality Management revoked the Stage 1 measures of the Graded Response Action Plan across the National Capital Region of India. The measures are in response to a sudden spike in air pollution levels. Several districts in Maharashtra have been hit by unseasonal rains, with the water accumulating in several areas. A 17-year-old youth also died after being struck by lightning. Heavy hailstorm accompanied by heavy rains occurred in various districts of Madhya Pradesh. The India Meteorological Department predicts more rain and warns fishermen to avoid deep-sea ventures until May 25. Heavy rainfall lashed several parts of Bengaluru, causing severe waterlogging and flooding in residential areas as the water entered homes, leaving residents stranded. Water damaged furniture and appliances in ground floor homes in Bengaluru, and daily life came to a halt as the roads became impassable. Now, people waded through knee-deep water as the city's drainage system struggled to cope. A tornado swept through the Colorado town of Bennett, leaving a trail of destruction at a solar farm and surrounding properties. Torrential rains halted Indonesia's search for 14 missing workers after a landslide killed 6 at a gold mine in Papua. Now the search will resume on Tuesday despite bad weather and damaged roads. Heavy weekend rain in China's southern provinces killed at least 6 people and disrupted trains and power supply, with alerts issued for several areas, severe flooding and geological disasters in some parts of the country. A huge plume of smoke rose from the Lebotobi Laki-Laki volcano on the Indonesian island of Flores. This happened Sunday. The volcano has erupted several times, spewing thick ash more than 6,000 meters above its summit. News features now, and the 37th National Book Festival in Mongolia opened up at Ulaanbaatar on Monday. It was held under the slogan, "Let's Read More." The book festival is held in the central square. It brought together leading writers, directors and artists, with young people flocking to discover inspiring books. The 28th edition of the Fes Festival of World Sacred Music opened in Morocco's capital, Fes. I beg your pardon, this is the spiritual capital, under the high patronage of King Mohammed VI. This year's theme is Renaissance, and it reflects the rebirth of cultural, intellectual and spiritual traditions across history. The opening ceremony was graced by Princess Lala Hasna and highlighted the festival's global importance, the immersive performance, united music, visual arts, as well as storytelling to celebrate shared spiritual legacies. Llandudno, which is a small Breton town, set a world record for the people dressed in Smurfs, surpassing the record set by Germany's Lohengrin. The colorful event saw participants of all ages in Smurf, and they were wearing that kind of attire, celebrating the town's new milestones with joy and excitement. Iraqis flocked to Baghdad's Sharjah market, one of the city's oldest commercial hubs. The market, located in the historic center, is filled with shoppers and merchants selling a variety of goods. Shopkeepers say that no matter how many new markets open, Sharjah remains at the heart of Baghdad. The market's centuries-old charm continues to attract locals. About 3.5 million people, including Buddhist followers, visited Quan Su Pagoda in Vietnam's Hanoi to worship Buddha's relics. As part of the UN Vesak 2025 celebrations, Quan Su Pagoda was the third venue for devotees to pay homage to the relics. The ceremonies were conducted safely and solemnly, with the relics removed. They were moved to the Tam Chuk Pagoda for enshrinement. Cosplayers gathered at the historic Ku Yasu Kawatai residence in Japan's Kitakyushu on Sunday for photo shoots blending modern culture with the city's rich history. A helicopter swooped low over Kenya's Liva Conservancy. They were guiding a rhino towards wildlife experts for a week-long ear-notching operation. Now, this operation is aimed at tracking and protecting the region's rhino population. Over 300 rhinos now inhabit the Liva Borana ecosystem, with numbers steadily increasing. Experts track rhino movements across the conservancy using electronic displays to ensure their protection. Pope Leo XIV, he toured St. Peter's Square on Sunday, greeting the faithful and blessing children as he made his way towards the Basilica. The Pope continued down the Via della Conciliazione, and this was for a greeting and blessing of the people, marking the official beginning of his pontificate with a warm connection with the faithful. News from the entertainment world now. The 6th day of the Cannes Film Festival saw the red carpet graced by Hollywood stars like Halle Berry, Julianne Moore, Alexander Skarsgård and Shia LaBeouf. Wes Anderson's latest film, The Phoenician Scheme, and its star-studded cast including Benicio del Toro and Tom Hanks stole the spotlight at Cannes, and this film is competing in the festival for the top honor. Actress and producer Nicole Kidman, she was presented with the prestigious Women in Motion Award by Kering at the festival. The Indian film director Satyajit Ray's Bengali film Aranyar Din Ratri is set also for a premiere on Monday at the festival, and this film's discussion will also be led by Wes Anderson. The Indian filmmaker Nihar Palwe's short film The Storm, The Calm, The Madness, The Magic has been selected for the 2025 Straight 8 competition at Cannes. Indian actors Janhvi Kapoor, Ishan Khattar and Vishal Jetwa are gearing up for their debut at Cannes for their upcoming film Homebound, which will be showcased in the Uncertain Regard category on Wednesday. The winner of the Eurovision Song Contest, JJ from Austria, returned to Vienna to a warm emotional reception from his fans. JJ defeated Israel's Yuval Rafael in the finals. Rafael expressed her excitement after securing the second place in the contest. Her song New Day Will Rise earned her a spot behind the Austrian in the global competition. The world premiere of Disney's live-action adaptation of Lilo and Stitch took place in Los Angeles on Sunday. Now, this film starred Mia Kealoha, and it follows the original story of the 2002 film. The latest entry to the Final Destination horror franchise, it had a strong debut, earning $51 million domestically and a global total of $102 million. Let's get to the sports news now. And Lucknow Super Giants are playing the Sunrisers Hyderabad in a do-or-die IPL match in Lucknow. Gujarat Titans captain Shubman Gill completed 5,000 T20 runs, and this is in his cricketing career. Their match was against Delhi Capitals when this happened. The Delhi Capitals batter K.L. Rahul became the first ever player in the history of the Indian Premier League to smash a century for 3 different franchises. The RCB, they've named Zimbabwe seamer Blessing Muzarabani as a replacement for the South African speedster Lungi Ngidi. Bangladesh is set to face the United Arab Emirates in the second T20 International in Sharjah on Monday. Bangladesh are leading the series 1-0. In tennis, Carlos Alcaraz lifted the Italian Open title on Sunday, defeating Yannick Sinner in straight sets in the final. Iga Swiatek has slipped to the 5th spot in the latest WTA rankings. Ariana Sabalenka continues at the top spot. Meanwhile, Yannick Sinner and Carlos Alcaraz occupy the top 2 spots of the latest ATP rankings in the men's section. PV Sindhu and HS Pranoy will look to regain form when they lead India's campaign at the Malaysia Masters tournament beginning on Tuesday. Max Verstappen clinched his second victory of the Formula One 2025 season by emerging triumphant in the Imola Grand Prix. In golf, Scottie Scheffler won the PGA Championship by 5 strokes at the Quail Hollow Club on Sunday. The Indian men's football team won the SAF Under-19 Championship 2025 by beating Bangladesh 4-3 on penalties. Inter Miami suffered a devastating 3-0 defeat to Orlando City in the MLS on Sunday. Kylian Mbappe and Jude Bellingham led Real Madrid to a 2-0 win over the 9-man Sevilla at the La Liga. The Italian League Serie A announced that Inter Milan and Napoli would play their final games of the season on Friday instead of on Sunday. Well, that's all we have in this edition of Express News. Thanks for watching. Namaskar.